What if one empire had united much of Western Europe and never collapsed? Charlemagne, crowned emperor in 800 AD, forged a vast realm stretching across modern France, Germany, and beyond. His reign sparked a revival of art, culture, and centralized power, yet, after his death, this grand empire fragmented, shaping the map of Europe as we know it. But imagine if Charlemagne's empire had endured intact. How would a unified Western Europe have changed history? Would it have forged peace and prosperity or bred conflict and stagnation? Today, we explore the fascinating possibility of a surviving Carolingian Empire. Charlemagne died in 814 AD, leaving a vast but fragile empire to his son Louis the Pious. After Louis's death, the empire was divided among his grandsons by the Treaty of Verdun in 843. This division split the empire into three kingdoms, roughly corresponding to modern France, Germany, and Italy. Geographic, linguistic, and cultural differences among these regions encouraged further fragmentation. The lack of a clear succession system and weak central authority led to feudalism's rise and the decline of imperial unity. This breakup laid the foundation for the modern nation-states of Europe. The Holy Roman Empire later emerged as a loose confederation but never recaptured Charlemagne's centralized power. This fragmentation shaped European politics, culture, and conflict for centuries. But what if this breakup never happened? Several plausible changes could have kept Charlemagne's empire intact. If Charlemagne had established primogeniture, passing the entire empire to his eldest son instead of dividing it among heirs, unity might have endured. A stronger centralized bureaucracy staffed by loyal nobles could have prevented feudal fragmentation. Longer reigns for Charlemagne or Louis the Pious might have solidified reforms. Military improvements could have repelled Viking, Magyar, and Islamic incursions more effectively. These factors combined could have preserved imperial cohesion. Historically, a unified Frankish empire was within reach. It simply required different leadership decisions and a bit of luck. A surviving Carolingian Empire would have created a powerful, centralized state spanning much of Western and Central Europe from the 9th century onward. Instead of separate kingdoms like France and Germany, a pan-Frankish imperial identity would dominate. Feudal fragmentation would be delayed or avoided, replaced by a strong monarchy with loyal nobles administering provinces. Borders might include modern France, Germany, the Low Countries, northern Italy, Austria, and Switzerland. This empire could resemble an early version of the European Union, politically united yet diverse, under a monarch and imperial law. The Holy Roman Empire, as we know it, might never have existed or taken a very different form. Such stability could foster peace and cooperation, reshaping European diplomacy and reducing intimacy. Warfare. Charlemagne's close alliance with the Catholic Church would continue to shape religious life. A strong empire could suppress heresies and schisms, potentially preventing the Protestant Reformation centuries later. Rome would remain the religious and political heart of Western Christendom. The schism between Eastern Orthodoxy and Western Catholicism might be softened or resolved under imperial pressure, though tensions could persist. Papal authority might diminish somewhat as the emperor asserts control over church affairs, or it could evolve into a more balanced partnership. The Church's role as a unifying cultural force would remain strong, but under the watchful eye of a powerful imperial state. Latin would likely remain the dominant language longer, serving as the empire's unifying tongue. A pan-European imperial culture would emerge, blending Frankish, Roman, and Christian traditions. Local languages like Old French, German, and Italian might develop more slowly or under imperial linguistic standards. Charlemagne's promotion of learning, the Carolingian Renaissance, could spark an earlier and more sustained intellectual revival, preserving classical knowledge and encouraging education across the empire. This cultural unity might foster a shared European identity centuries before modern nationalism, with art, literature, and law reflecting imperial ideals. Political stability would enable long-term infrastructure projects, roads, bridges, and standardized law codes facilitating commerce. A unified currency or tax system might develop earlier, simplifying trade across vast territories. The Hanseatic League's role could be absorbed into imperial trade networks or become unnecessary. Trade would flourish across the Mediterranean, North Sea, and Baltic regions, connecting diverse parts of the empire. Shared knowledge could accelerate agricultural and proto-industrial innovations. Economic integration would foster urban growth and wealth accumulation, setting the stage for an early economic renaissance in Europe. A large, stable empire with a standing army could defend its borders effectively against Vikings, Magyars, and Islamic forces. Coordinated military campaigns might produce more successful crusades, projecting imperial power into the Mediterranean and the Holy Land. With centralized resources and ambition, the empire could pioneer early overseas exploration, potentially beating Portugal and Spain to global discovery and colonization. This proto-European superpower would dominate medieval geopolitics, shaping global trade routes and cultural exchanges centuries before the rise of modern nation-states. Without the fragmentation that sparked centuries of conflict, major wars, like the 30 Years' War or Napoleonic Wars, might never occur. Nationalism's rise could be delayed or take a different form under imperial unity. Colonization patterns would shift, altering the modern world map. Technological, social, and legal advancements might arise centuries earlier. Yet, such an empire could also become rigid and authoritarian, suppressing diversity and innovation. Would a united Europe under Charlemagne have changed the world or destroyed it? If you enjoyed this journey through alternate history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more mind-bending what-if scenarios. Let us know in the comments, what do you think the world would look like if Charlemagne's empire had survived?